A very good afternoon, sir. One of the things that Divas Pokhrel, who is an aeronautical engineer, once told me was that he never wanted to work in airlines because he could never really catch his breath in festivals, for example. Okay? And he said that even when you've got Women's Day, for example, which is today, or you've got Dasai, or you've got Winter Vacation, you have none of that in the air industry. So does the aircraft industry celebrate Women's Day in some way in our country?
Actually, I'm a pure line maintenance guy. So, more precisely, concerning Nepalese aviation, it's very few number of female staff in line maintenance. Whereas for the corporate offices, like head offices, obviously we do have company holidays for this day, but in line maintenance, no.
No. We see that a few maintenance engineers that were supplied from, I probably shouldn't be using the word supplied, but there are a few students who've completed their aircraft maintenance engineering from Aviation School of Technology as well. But I always see that the number of females is disproportionately low in compared to the number of males. Is there a specific reason for that, or what's your thought on this?
Actually, first we talk about worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
I think worldwide there's no any such reason like males should be only engaged in line maintenance and females should not be. Even we see nearby country India, we see lots of technicians, engineers, female working like this shift, night shift. So that's no problem. But here, I think first of all the number of graduates are very less.
Mm-hmm.
Second things, it depends upon the individual thinking. Like female are not capable of lifting heavy things or not capable of doing mechanical things. So it's not true. If we give opportunity, then we can get the result.
Yes.
Otherwise, how could you judge by our thinking only?
Yes.
So it's an individual call.
Yeah, I think that given that we've got so many machines these days who do the heavy lifting,
Of course.
And I think that the equation where weight or your physical strength comes into play is getting lesser and lesser because we're focusing more on the technical aspects of it and not a lot with physicality, maybe.
True. Yes, of course we have a lots of lifting equipments, trolleys, and jack. So all these things just needs your skill, not your physical strength. So yeah, that is equally be done by both.
Okay. In which airline you specifically associated to? Is it Yeti or Buddha? I forgot.
I'm currently engaged in Himalaya Airlines.
Oh, you're in Himalaya Airlines. So what is the number? Again, we're talking, since this is the Women's Day, we wanted to focus a bit on the number of aircraft maintenance engineers. So in Himalaya, the ratio of male and female engineers would be how much?
On line maintenance, sadly, we can say that there is no only female engineers for the line maintenance. But at our corporate office, we have female engineers working at planning and training section. Yeah.
So do you have any aeronautical engineers as well?
Yes.
Female aeronautical engineers?
Yes.
Because it's one thing to see aircraft maintenance engineers because you've seen that, but whenever the word aeronautical engineering comes into mind, I don't really think it's something that women necessarily do. I mean, it's got to do with the fact that I've got a small sample size. I don't know a lot of women who pursue engineering in the first place. So men or the society in general would really be amazed to know that in the Himalayan Airlines, we've got a few aeronautical engineers as well.
Yeah, we do have, but very less.
Mm-hmm.
Very less.
So what kind of work would they be engaged in, for
They
example?
are engaged in planning, like whatever the maintenance aircraft we cannot do by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like aircraft has all the maintenance scheduled and unscheduled maintenance. So scheduled maintenance is like aircraft flies as per the hours, cycles, and calendars. They are predefined intervals for specific maintenance. So that schedule maintenance are planned by the planning. So that sort of work they are doing.
Okay. So, and line maintenance would be very different from what they're doing.
So that they prepare the schedule task. So say like aircraft flew up to 1000 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, after 1000 hours, this maintenance should be done as per the manufacturer documentation. So that schedule maintenance task cards, work orders will be created by them, and they will send to line maintenance. And line maintenance, as per the task cards, whatever the consumables requires, routable requires, they prepare and they execute the maintenance on the aircraft.
Okay. I sometimes I tend to think of line managers as people whose efforts are not really seen by the general public. I mean, whenever a person is talking about an aircraft, we generally think of the pilot as the hero who flies it all the time, and he's the one who rescues it. And before I came to Aviatory School of Technology, I never knew that aircraft maintenance engineers played such a big role in making sure that the plane can fly in a designated time. So, how does it feel to work in a department which is not really as recognized as maybe other things? Maybe air hostesses are thought of as angels in some ways. We think of pilots as great heroes, but not a lot of people outside the aviation sector talk a lot about line maintenance or aircraft maintenance in general.
Actually, it's a teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone has their own role. So say like as we have discussed the planning work, what they are doing all the planning, the scheduled maintenance. So without doing any maintenance, the aircraft cannot be serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
So now comes our role. So we are doing the maintenance. Okay, now aircraft is airworthy. Now that then cabin crews and pilot roles comes.
Mm-hmm.
So they ensure the cabin crew ensure the cabin's safety.
Mm-hmm.
And then captains and pilots, they are their role to fly the aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And then again after landing, again maintenance engineers roles comes.
Mm-hmm.
After landing, the post-flight inspection should be done, checked, then released. Unless the aircraft maintenance engineer release the aircraft cannot fly.
Mm-hmm. So you're the ones who give an authority on whether the plane is ready to fly or not.
Not ready. Aircraft is we say it airworthiness.
Airworthiness.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So aircraft is airworthy or not to
Mm-hmm.
fly.
Okay.
So yes, it's the prime role of us to make ensure, not by looking or by like thinking or by just as a layman things. We had a precise checklist. We had a precise task card. So which we go through that. Say it's a transit inspection or daily inspection or pre-flight inspections. So that task cards has each and every maintenance which the manufacturers have laid down. So that all should be done. Then after the aircraft is released.
Okay, so say after a plane has been grounded and if it's come to a halt, how much time would be dedicated for inspection before judging whether it's good enough to get on air again?
So it depends why it's grounded.
Mm-hmm.
What is the reason?
Mm-hmm.
Either it goes through an incident, either it goes through any abnormal flights, either there is a leak, either
Mm-hmm.
there is a maintenance due.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the reason? It depends on particular. Say, okay, aircraft comes to lightning strike.
Okay.
By the captain reported. Then after we have a checklist as per the manual. We go through all the inspections, and if we found all the things are normal within the limits, then the aircraft is released. Maybe that inspection required 5 to 7 hours, 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's a body strike. So
Bird strike.
Body strike.
Okay.
So now, okay, the engineer goes through the checklist. They inspect the body damages on the aircrafts or engines. If it is damages within the limits or without limits, say if it is within limits, after inspection the aircraft is released to service. But if the damage is beyond the limit, the aircraft is grounded. And unless that damage is being rectified, the aircraft cannot fly.
Okay.
So maybe it takes up to several months also.
7 months.
Depends
Depending
upon
upon what kind of impact.
Yes. Repair, because in context of Nepal, if we have say engine damage
Mm-hmm.
beyond limit.
Beyond limit.
Yes. So we don't have the spare over here. we need to arrange for the spare, we need to arrange for the tools, for the manpower, and that
takes
time.
A bit of time. With the advent of 3D printing, for example, where we have a lot of workshops that are committed to showing how 3D printers will work magic for you, or will provide you with equipment that you might not have in your country, has that really taken off its course in the aviation sector, or can't we really manufacture it with the same amount of authority as the government demands?
3D printing, say like now this is a new word for modern aviation. Like the aircrafts are printed, the parts are printed in 3D printing. Say like the new engine fan blades are 3D printed.
Okay.
So that's done in the manufacturing shop.
Manufacturing.
So not by the operator or not by the airlines have to build that equipment, because it is for the manufacturing only. So we operator or maintenance, I don't require that.
You don't. Okay. You're talking about bird strike, and about a couple of weeks or so ago, there was a video that was about to be. I didn't really check whether it went viral or not, but there was an aircraft that was supposed to land in Pokhara Airport, or had taken off from Pokhara Airport, and we saw that there were two eagles which were perilously close to the aircraft. We can't really see from the video whether they're on a collision course, but we can certainly see that the two eagles have dropped dead after they've hit the aircraft. So how frequent is bird strike? I mean, this is a big problem for the aviation industry, and must be a big problem for a line maintainer like you as well.
If you go in a deep, the most of the maintenance cost involves due to bird strike.
Okay.
The most, because this is unscheduled. And in our context, we are we're getting very much audit report very frequently. So that depends upon the damages, at what amount of damage has been done by that bird strike, and that really costs are very heavy.
Okay, so there is a general feeling among the aviation industry that there are a lot of shops around Trivandrum International Airport. For example, there are a lot of Sekwa corners and things like these, and that lulls a lot of birds into coming as well. How much do you buy into this line of reasoning, or is this just something that?
It can be. It can be an additional factor, so that the birds are around the periphery of our landing zones. So yeah, that may be the factor, but that can be eliminated. There are lots of ways to eliminate that. We can have taken examples from other airports also. So like just now I talked with our Moti sir. Like in Kunming Airport, I was there for maintenance, and in the early morning, like the bird activities are more prone. So their airport has a gunfire sound equipment installed on the runway side.
Gunfire sound equipment.
Yes. So that sounds after every 5 seconds, so that the birds are departed, not around the zones. So that can also be done. Depends. There are many others equipments which can be used to eliminate that.
Okay, so that would also depend primarily on the ascent time, right? Because after the aircraft is above the clouds, I think that the possibility of a bird strike is really low.
Yeah. But it's we can say the bird strike probability can be from descent or approach.
Descent or approach.
Maybe below 15,000 feet, 10,000 feet. So not sure the exact altitude, but maybe yeah. So from there we have prawns to like bird strike can be, and there are many incidents.
So you've dealt with one personally as well?
Yeah, of course, many times. Many times, including major cost also.
Major cost. So can you talk about the most horrific of the bird strikes that caused a lot of damage to an aircraft which you were involved in?
Yeah, I think in an average every week bird strike.
Every week a bird strike. Yeah, because we don't really get to know the frequency of the bird strikes.
Yeah, if we go through the reports, because that reports goes to TI also, and our company internal also. So if you go through that, there are many reports, like the captain's report, suspected bird strike.
Suspected bird strikes.
They have the report because they are coming for landing, so they may see the birds passing around the engines, passing around the aircraft. That may be real hit or not. Just they are suspected.
A miss, a near miss. We don't really know.
So they report like that. But after landing, when we go through the walk around inspection, then we have to go through details. And there, if we found, then okay, it's the miss, or maybe it's it hits on the fuselage, maybe it's on the wing leading edges, maybe on the engine. So it depends how the impact is. We have many major maintenance have been. We have lots of grounded also due to bird strike.
So we see that the number of staff or the aircraft maintenance engineers that a particular airlines hires is different. Say the number of line maintenance in company A would be very different from company B. So is there a minimum requirement of the number of engineers that it requires?
Yeah, depends on the fleet. How many aircraft that the company have, what sort of scope of available that company have. Say that company is doing just line maintenance, no any major maintenance, then they may require less maintenance of maintenance. But say company is doing some major maintenance also, like H checks, like C checks, and other major maintenance. So they have to increase the volume of the staff. So it depends upon the scope of available and number of fleets.
Okay. So apart from the bird strike, so you talked that lightning was one of the issues that might come.
Lightning strike, bird strike, flight through turbulence, flight through hailstorm. So there are many factors like aircraft can be gone through. So one major issues in our country is bird strike. Second thing is lightning. Yes.
So you said that the frequency of getting a bird strike is 1 per week, maybe. Yeah. So a lightning would be once a month or lesser than that.
It's mostly during monsoon season. Yeah. So every monsoon season we are facing this lightning strike problem. Sometimes minor, sometimes major. Depends.
So a major would crash?
No. Right. No any like if you say both engine fail also, aircraft not going to crash.
Even if both engines fail.
Or due to bird strike, like both engines short time flame out, aircraft not going to crash. It depends upon the pilot skill. They need to follow the checklist, SOP. They need to fly the aircraft. There the emergency system also as a backup. So there are systems which are taken as a backup. So yeah, of course. So lightning strikes may damage the aircraft, but it not leads to this.
Okay, but for somebody, a layperson like me, to listen, to hear that even if both engines of the aircraft crashes, it doesn't really have an effect on the landing is something.
No, obviously, the flight will be tough. It's not going to be easy.
It's not going to be easy.
Of course. But if you are following all your
procedures,
emergency procedures, and the pilot is well on skilled, so he can fly the aircraft. And there are many incidents which, if both engines fail, also the aircraft has been landed safely.
So you're talking about in our country itself?
No.
Outside our country. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, since there's a probability that a lightning strike might hit an engine or a bird strike might damage an engine and make it very, very difficult for the aircraft, is that one of the reasons why only double engine aircrafts now need to operate in our country? Or
no, that's not the reason. That's not the reason. That's single engine operates like obviously the smaller aircrafts which were flying earlier, like Cessna, Type 750. So they have a smaller number of capacity of passengers and
Mhm.
load carrying. So if you want to increase your payload, number of capacity, you have to go for the multi-engine aircraft.
Okay, so it's more about the efficiency.
Yeah.
And less about the probability of a crash.
Yes.
Okay, it's
Aircrafts are made to fly, not to crash.
okay. Yes, yes. We need reassurances like that from people like you, because we've grown a lot. We've grown very, very distrustful of the airlines industry, particularly after the crash of ATR 72 in January. Every person now says, I want to go in a bus. I don't really want to take an aircraft. And sometimes people don't really realize that there are a lot of engineers, such as you, and other aircraft maintenance engineers who make sure that the plane is airworthy to fly. But that is not really the case when we're starting a bike. We tend to start a bike without really checking if that is going to malfunction or not. So how can airlines really get their businesses going now that we've had a crash like that, now that the mentality of people has changed and they'd rather opt a bus rather than take a 30-minute flight?
Yeah, of course. Because as a layman, obviously one should think like that. But as we are technical persons and the persons who are involved in the aviations, everybody, maybe that may be commercial guy, that may be technical guy, maybe the flight operation guy, they know the cycle, how an aircraft fly from like ground maintenance engineer job, okay, in flight cabin crew or captain job, or landing commercial job. So there's a cycle, and which is all everybody's responsibility is already predefined. It doesn't include like one, okay, I have to do these things, I have to do that things. It doesn't do whatever you want. There is a predefined individual job responsibility. So how you want to, you have to approach, what is your role. So if you are following that, I think you are in safer hands.
Okay. One of the things that was told by another of the engineers was that irrespective of how experienced you are as an aircraft maintenance engineer, you always have to take a look at the procedures, always have to check whether you've done the right thing or not. And it is particularly frowned upon if you're thought of as the smart guy who can do it without the book or without the procedures. Is that true?
Yeah, of course. If you go through like 20 decades back, if you see the accident history, so 80% of all the accidents was due to human error. 20 decades back.
20.
Yeah. But after that, aviation is grown up very, very faster, and lots of changes have been adopted to make the aviation more and more safer. Now, if you go through the data, I think most of the reason is due to non-technical, non-human.
Non-human.
Yes. So that's doesn't include here. Of course, we do have our checklist, our task cards, which we are doing the same things we have done 100 times. But every time we need to follow that task cards, each and every step. And if we are doing that, if we are following that, we are not going to do any mistakes.
Okay. This is something, you remind me a bit of Cristiano Ronaldo as well. Well, there is one YouTube video where he shows the type of exercise he does, and he always carries a card where he's written the set of exercise that he needs to do. And he says, despite the fact that I've done it for 10 or 20 years, I might forget it. And every time I have it, I check it. And as soon as I'm done with the squats, I go check mark on the squats and then only start with another. And that's one of the ways of becoming very efficient. Is it something that you guys practice as well?
Yes. That's very true. That's why he didn't miss any of the step, and he's
one of the greatest athletes to have ever been born.
Yes.
And I sometimes hear that there is always a tussle that goes between aircraft maintenance engineers and pilots. There is a silent sort of way that sometimes you might blame the pilot for something, and sometimes the pilot says, the aircraft maintenance engineers. Is that really true?
No. It's obviously not true. It depends upon an individual mood. What mood is on duty, and what sort of relationship he's having with his colleagues. So it's not completely true. Yeah, it depends upon individual. Okay, sometimes mood is okay, then you can speak normally. Otherwise, you can ignore. It's like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, does the pilot also have a great deal to do in terms of maintaining the aircraft? Because we sometimes tend to think that, say, if you're a driver, you might drive the motor vehicle really well, or you can drive it really, really badly, and that sort of determines the way that motor functions. So,
no, of course not. Nowadays, modern aircrafts are so sophisticated. Like if you touch anything, everything is being recorded, and anything like you're doing going out of the procedures, that will be displayed, that will be recorded, and even the aircraft is flying. What any like say any fault is there on aircrafts, the ground personnel on the ground who's monitoring can know what is the fault. So that system also.
So it's very difficult for anybody to do reckless driving on an aircraft.
Yeah. So they are just also following the same their own checklist, their own procedures, and that's how aircraft fly.
Okay. So yesterday was one of the Kijitsu. Kijitsu is known as a death anniversary in the Japanese language. You could call it Jiri in the Chinese language as well. Of Garuda Air, where a pilot had a great descending angle and had really brought the aircraft at a greater speed than that was allowed. Say he was coming at around 400 kilometers per hour when the permissible limit was only 200, something like that. And maybe the regulations for pilots have also become stricter, and it's more difficult now to do it recklessly.
Yeah, of course, the regulations are very strict, and even after every flight, if any abnormal data are there, that's been transmitted to the ground, and ground people are know about that. And after flight, also all the parameters and that has been recorded will be analyzed by the team. So if any of the flight parameters has been exceeded or abnormal, then they are liable to get answer, like why this has happened. So you cannot do or you cannot hide anything.
Okay. So in order to become a line manager like you might need to have a work experience of certain number of years, maybe 10, 15, 20?
Almost 15.
Okay, almost 15.
Yeah.
And how has aircraft maintenance engineering changed in the past 15 years, say, since the time you started out?
Yes, definitely very, very aircraft is the aviation is being very modern, and many new technology has been introduced, and what sort of like errors was earlier, so how to rectify and how to make not to repeat that, so that things are sort of been induced, and that's been controlled also. So yeah, of course there
are a lot of change.
Lots of change and much more enhanced.
But we don't really, as an outsider, again, this is the perspective of a layperson, we don't really hear a lot about the changes in the policies of aircrafts, right? Because the news about that does not really come through. Maybe it's got to do with the fact that we don't really have a good aviation media in our country, or that the media that is already there is less interested in getting these things out in the public. But you say that the procedures are getting better every year. The legislation is becoming stricter and stricter, so that more and more errors have been reduced. Can you talk of one specific example in line maintenance engineering, say something that was not there but has been introduced?
Like earlier, mostly on the we talk about the training parts. Like mostly there were very less number of trainings related to maintenance. But nowadays we have recurrent training for all the mandatory trainings, and also we have AV's electrical wiring interconnection system trainings. CDCCL trainings, SMS trainings, human factor trainings. That is very much most important. Like earlier, people can work continuously for more than say 18 hours, 20 hours continuously without taking leave and all. But at a time, human brains and human body gets fatigued, and that leads to error. So that sort of things has been restricted very much.
Okay.
And that is being implemented also. So that's that recurrent trainings are being introduced and being done, so that every maintenance personnel involved are get aware of those things, and of course to reduce the number of errors.
Okay. So it's often been said that Aviation Nepal is the first of the schools that offers aircraft maintenance engineering. And since you've been in the aircraft maintenance engineering for 15 years, it goes without saying that you're not a product of Nepal. Did you study outside for?
Yeah, at that time there were no any colleges in Nepal who were providing such facilities. So of course we have to move nearby.
So where did you complete your?
I completed my AB course from India, BIA Patna.
Okay, so how was the experience of learning it there?
Actually, I belongs to a small city. So, talking as a layman,
okay,
before coming to aviation, I was just studying for my final examination of +2. So, before for final exam, we are going through the reasoning questions, and in one only theorem, there was one question: how an aircraft fly due to the pressure differential. That question changed my mind.
Okay.
You can say changed my life.
Okay.
I was very much interested to. Okay, I will make my career in this field. At that time, I was just known about aeroplane and pilot, nothing else. I don't know about engineers. I don't know about cabin crew, nothing. Even I have not seen the aircraft also.
Okay.
So after completing my +2 exam, I went to the cybers. I inquired in the Google all this like aircraft maintenance engineering. So I got prospectus from all over the world. I printed it out, and then I started evaluating the cost for the course. So aeronautical engineering and aircraft maintenance engineering, that two things I get to know. And also I was not knowing the differences, only the course duration was different. Then after the cost was for aeronautical was quite higher. I went to a middle class family, so my parents were not able to afford that. So I went for the aircraft maintenance engineering course. That was nearby from my hometown, because Patna is 6-7 hours by road. So I joined that course, and I joined 2.5 months late.
2.5 months late.
Yeah, because due to some financial issues and all. So in the first class, I got 10% of what the topics was being
covered.
Yes. So 10% I got understood. So I was feeling very self-motivated. Okay.
Even at 10%, you were very self-motivated.
Yes. So really that was like my dream that was going through. So I did very very efficiently and completed my course. I got my license for media, DGCA. Then I came back here. I joined Nepal Airlines 2008 October. 2008. Yes, as a volunteer. Then after I joined Agni 2009 February as a training technician. Then I got to know there is a examination for aircraft maintenance engineering from CAN. So that exam I was appearing. I passed the exams. I got the license, and then after how my career started.
Okay, so did you get to practice in India as well? Or?
Yeah. This course includes 2.5 years
mandatory training,
college training, and 6 months OJT. So 2.5 years and college training includes practical also.
Practical also.
We have a hangar workshop also.
Okay.
So both the theory and practical both were between parallel.
You did that, but did you get to practice in an airlines in India as well? No. And you said that after...
Because 2008 I passed out, so at that time there was a crisis in aviation. Like lots of airlines were closed, and lots of people were jobless.
In India?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in the worldwide.
Okay, and so did that have to do with the global recession that was taking place back
the
then?
fuel prices was high. Yeah, so that impact was very high. Like lots of people were jobless, and I was lucky to get here. Yeah, of course, that was a very bad time. Very hard time, not bad, a very hard time.
You said that you had a license from DGCA?
Yes, from India. DGCA BAML, Basic Aircraft Maintenance Engineer license. I have a license from CAN, Civil Aviation.
So can the value of the license be transferred in some ways, or do you have to take a different exam?
At that time, there was no any like ESA college in Nepal, or so CAN used to conduct the exams. So with that license, I was eligible to give airframe sampling and engine sampling.
Examinations,
yes.
Okay.
Other is those who have that license or any other country license, they need to appear for all the papers. So that airframe sampling and engine sampling, I appeared and I got passed, and then after I got my CAN license.
Okay. So do you think that getting the license in India was a lot tough compared to our country, or examination in our country was it?
Equally same, not tough like there, because it's the course, the aircraft is same. The course materials are same.
The manual is the same.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I asked this only because it said that in Nepal you don't really have good standards of studies or examinations. In India, it's a lot better compared to that.
The examinations was done from CAN, so that was the standard. Yeah, so of course that was okay.
So, as a person of 2008 who first time went in aircraft, so how was the general feeling of it? Were you really awed by the situation? Maybe you're a bit overwhelmed by it, a tad nervous, things like that?
Yeah, of course. So when I passed my course, I came Kathmandu first time,
and
I was unknown about TI airport. So I was blocked at Golden Gate. We cannot go inside without a pass, or if you're not a passenger or whatever. So I was stuck over there. So in front of the Golden Gate, there's a restaurant. Some people on the uniform were sitting, and that's of course the airport staffs. So I went to them. They were Nepal Airlines staff, commercial staff, and I was with my CV, my other documents, and I approached them like, okay, I have completed this. How can I approach for the job or apprentice? And they were commercial guide. They just give a brief idea. Okay, go to the head office, Nepal Airlines RNC office, and you can apply over there. You can talk there. So that's how my first approach was there.
And you said that you also worked in the Kunming airport once. So is that located in China?
Yeah. So we have to for the major maintenance, which we do not have facility over here. So we need to send our aircraft like in Kunming, Dubai, or Kuala Lumpur. So we have been visited all the places. So at Kunming, I was there for maintenance only.
So how do you take the aircraft? Do you fly the aircraft or do you take it on a ship? I've got no idea.
No, the aircraft was obviously flight by the pilots, but we maintenance persons were on board. And we have to do our job there.
So does it not really scare you, given that the aircraft that you're taking needs a bit of maintenance?
No, because the aircraft was parked at the Bay Valley, and that was a line maintenance job. So we don't need to take the aircraft to the hangar. So that's not.
That's not okay. So did some of the practices that took place in China in terms of aircraft maintenance engineering, did that catch your mind in any ways, or was there something noticeable about it?
No, the way of approaching maybe differs. Maybe differs from people to people and from place to places. So that's how people are professionals, like they are coming with all the equipments at a time, and they started. Some people they are just some people are partially doing the job. Some people are busy on paperwork. So it depends upon the people.
So you said that you were fairly animated when you began to study about aircraft maintenance engineering, and even only when 10% of the course was something that you got a chance to attend, you were very animated about it. But a lot of people have the opposite sort of mentality that I've not covered this. They tend to worry a lot. And one thing that happens is everybody has a hero in their sector. Okay, so somebody who wants to become a footballer always has a footballer he looks up to. Always has a poster boy. I, as a kid, used to have posters of a few singers, such as Bryan Adams or Scorpions, and I always thought I want to be someone like that. And we don't really hear a lot about aircraft maintenance engineers in general, and so it's a bit difficult to have heroes like that as well.
It depends upon any individual goal or whatever individual. My dream was to be to engage with the aircrafts. So yeah, that was my hardcore dream, and which leads me to success also. So it's my own dream
determination.
That makes me
Okay. So there is also a course in, I think it's in Pulchok Engineering Campus, which is very similar to aircraft maintenance engineering, or is it something different? Aeronautical engineering. So
that's aeronautical engineering and aircraft maintenance engineering different. So aeronautical maintenance engineering. Aeronautical engineering is a 4-year course, and that's includes to the design of the aircrafts, manufacturing of aircrafts. So that sort of things that course includes. But aircraft maintenance engineering is a hardcore maintenance course. So 3 years course, somewhere 2 years, depends. And our job is a purely maintenance job. So that maintenance may include scheduled, non-scheduled, component replacement, engine boroscope, like people doing endoscopic for what are inside our bodies, how is the condition of the body. So inside of the engine, how the condition of the engine. So through boroscope we can ensure. So we have lots of inspection like NDTs, radiographic inspection, adequate inspection. So yeah, of course there are lots of different scopes in the maintenance. So that deals with the aircraft engineering.
So now that you're a line manager, is there a ceiling higher above line manager as well?
I'm a deputy line maintenance manager.
Okay, now you've got to say, if you climb up the staircase, so what comes next after deputy line manager?
We have from junior maintenance engineer to senior maintenance engineer, then deputy line maintenance manager, then line maintenance manager, AMO manager.
Okay.
Then after engineering director. So what sort of post the company is having? So it depends upon
that, and it might also depend upon whether you're interested in doing that. Are those things completely related to aircraft maintenance engineering, or are they more in the management sector?
I've not think that much. What I feel interest, that things I will do till my aviation career. So I've not planned to go up to this post. For that I have to change this one. So nothing. I'm a hardcore maintenance guy, so I will invest my aviation journey to the maintenance only.
Okay. So when you're talking about aircraft maintenance engineering, is the maintenance of a helicopter very, very different from that of a normal plane, or how does that work?
The system is different, the machine is different, but the way of approaching is same for both. Either fixed wing, either rotary wing. They have also their maintenance manuals. There are also their AMPs which differentiate the schedule inspections and all. So they have to go through all the task or checklist. The way of approaching is same for all the aircrafts,
irrespective of whether helicopters or they're planes.
Yeah.
Now, are there some aircrafts that are more easy to maintain compared to others, or is it more or less the same?
I'll ask you a question.
Yeah, sure.
What is an aircraft?
That's a good. Well, I tend to think of an aircraft as anything that can fly. Maybe.
Just giving examples. What sort of things you can include in an aircraft? Like two things we have already talked. Aeroplane, that's fixed wing.
Yeah.
And helicopters.
Yeah.
So both comes under aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot say like aeroplane is a fixed wing. You cannot say helicopter is aeroplane.
Mm-hmm.
But you can say helicopter as an aircraft, or aeroplane as an aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
That aircraft includes all the things which can fly, including hot air balloon also, including piston engine aircraft also.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different fields. Like for fixed wing, now we can say we have turboprop engines and turbofan engines. So now the Boeings and Airbus having turbofan engines, and the domestics ATRs are turboprop engines. Helicopters are turboshaft engines.
Mm-hmm.
The gliders are piston engines. So they have their different scopes, but the way of approaching for the maintenance is same. They all have their manufacturer's maintenance manuals, and then that's how we have to follow for all the maintenance.
Well, there are a few airports in the world where a lot of work that's manual can be now done by robots, for example. In India, there is a particular airport where all of the things that are carried from one place to the other not by people, but by AIs. Now, is the AI taking over the aircraft maintenance engineering job as well? Can a few things that can be done by robots, maybe?
Maybe for the managing the stores, managing the spares, that can be used. But in RAM doing maintenance by the AI, I don't think so. Maybe in future that may be covered, but till now I haven't heard.
Okay. So it was lovely talking to you. I hope we could do this again someday later. Okay. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.